Hi, I'm Jules. I'm from Storytelling Schools, and I'm going to show you how to get to a piece of writing that is a story the children have created. And to do that, I'm just going to take you through one of the books of one of the children I've taught in Year 3. She's 7 and a bit at this point of writing, and I'm going to show you all of the different processes we went through. First of all, this related to a topic that we were doing on robots. So my first thing that I did was I got them to draw a robot. And they drew all kinds of things. They designed their own. This is her robot, a fantasy robot. Now, in order to do creating stories, I will always put them in pairs, because if you put them in pairs, then they've always got someone to talk to about a story that they've made up, but it's between the two of them, so they've always got someone to talk to about it. Doesn't always work, of course, one's not there on the day when they're going to write one thing, so there's always one or two children that are sort of having to manage on their own for some reason, but generally doing it in pairs is really useful. So this is the robot that she designed, and this is a plot matrix. Now, a plot matrix is a really useful way to begin when you are trying to make up a story. And I give the job of the children on this particular day, and it takes a good hour to do this, is just to follow me through all of the different parts that we're going to need in this story and to make those decisions. They don't have to tell the story yet, they just have to know all the constituent parts. So the first thing that we talk about is where it's going to take place. Now, when we're writing like this in the class, sometimes I make this decision for them. So I told them they were going to be in a forest, and it's going to be near their home. So we were setting it in England, somewhere familiar, and in a forest. We've got forests around us, so this is familiar to them, because it's not the focus of the story. I just need that bit to be easy. So where in a forest? Then they pick a child. And again, I've told them this child has to be age sort of 9 or 10, allowed out to play by themselves, but not all day, every day, and not able to fix stuff by themselves. So they make up a child, but I've already made that within limits. So it's definitely a child. It's not a fox. It's not, it's got to fit with what I'm trying to do here. So it's a child, because I've decided that. Then I say, right, the problem, and once again, I've decided the problem, but they're going to do the writing about it in their own way. The problem is this robot that they come across in the forest by themselves seems to be really dangerous. So that was the problem. There's a dangerous robot. They can't get rid of the dangerous robot by themselves because they're too small. So this robot is doing bad things, and they need to get home, and the robot's in the way, and they can't fix that themselves. In getting closer to the robot, there's something else the robot's doing in its behaviour that is making it more dangerous. So whatever the robot's doing is making it more dangerous. So this is the setback, and this robot, in sort of being near the child, ends up near the child's house and sets it on fire. So they've got something on fire. The garage is on fire or something here, and then there's a helper, so somebody who can come in and handle the situation. And in this case, it's a grown-up, and the grown-up looks at the robot and thinks, this is the behaviour of someone who's sort of out of control and scared. So she says nice things to the robot, and the robot calms down. So the robot calms down, and the ending is going to be something along the lines of, they realise that the robot isn't a grown-up robot, it's a baby robot, and it's very scared, and it's only doing these bad things because it's frightened. So they make friends with the robot, and then they find out this robot's really good at doing something, and so the ending is all about the robot helping them, maybe ending up coming and being a helper at school, or teaching times tables, or maybe building fences for people who've blown down in hurricane. So they're developing their own story, but within very firm limits. So that was their brainstorm. Took me about an hour to go through it. The next thing we did is we wanted to do some writing about the robot. We want to focus in on the robot, and this is something I use quite often. Can you see going down here, there's antenna, screen, power off, power on button. There's lots of different parts. So this was a sort of brainstorm of bits you might have on the robot. So we did that one day. We talked about it. No heart, zap, And then we use those words to write a very short piece of writing at the end, but it's good practice. My robot has an antenna and it's very loud. His powerful on-off button is coloured red. His big neck has very sharp spikes, as sharp as a hedgehog. The robot has no heart. Really nice sentences she wrote. So you can see she's developing over the years. She's learning to put those adjectives in, and she's writing with a purpose in mind to make the robot sound scary. So that was one lesson, coming up with words, parts of a robot, and then writing a short piece. So it was a bit like doing a roll on the wall. Then we wanted to work together in the classroom to come up with a poem. So let's use some of those parts. We had something like this written on the flip chart. We picked out some parts of a robot. So we went antenna, and we could have body. There could be legs. There could be rollers, and there could be a screen or probes or buttons, or let's go for, we could have teeth if it's scary, but we chose different parts of it. I'm going to go for feet. Okay, so at the moment these are just body parts. It's not very scary yet. We want to make it scary, so we're going to choose scary words to make this better. This is called a spine poem, and spine poems are useful for generating lots of adjectives and verbs. The adjectives are going to live on this side, the verbs are going to live on this side, and what we write is going to end up as a poem. So let's think of some words, everybody. Antenna. What might the antenna be? It might be spiky, it might be metal, it might be long, it might have a little flashing bulb on it, a flashing bulb. Okay, and then what might the antenna be doing? It might be probing, it might be searching, it might be waving, it might be, what else might, zapping. Okay, it might be doing something. Okay, and then we're going to choose from each of these selections. We're going to make a line, and we're just going to practice making them and see what happens. So over here I've got my piece of paper, and this is all on the clip chart, and I'm going to have a go in front of the children so they can see that I'm having a go. Right, the spiky metal antenna probed and waved in the air. Okay, and I'm playing with the words and seeing what I can come up with, and there's my first line of my poem. Okay, body. Right, the body, it could be a cylinder, so it could be cylindrical. It could be radiating. I'm going to put that over there because it's a verb. Radiating. It could be a revolving. It could be what shaped body could we have? Let's have a giant body. It could be made of many pieces, so I could put patchwork, and I could put copper, a specific metal. Okay, and in that way I can come up with the second line, the third line, and we did this in class, and each time we went down we tried to make it scarier, so that by the time it was at the feet, they had gigantic rollers, we had caterpillar tracks, we had spiked, and then we had it trampling. So we tried to choose words that sounded really awful. Speeding, and so on. And you fill the page with all those words, and then they use those to make some sentences. And those sentences can be a description. So you could do that straight into a nice character description. So then we use that later. So the next part, map. And from their story map, we would begin to write, and we might split the story up into sections using boxing up. In a previous video, we did King Lud, and I showed you how stories can often be boxed up into an introduction, where you meet the characters, a middle, where we meet the problem for the first time. So this is where the beginning of the robot part might come in. We might get the middle, where the middle two, which is where the problem is sort of at its height. Then we have the solution. And lastly, we go on to an ending. So for the robot story, boxing it up might look like this. So boxing up of the robot story. Right, the introduction. Well, in the introduction, we meet the girl or the boy who's their character and their friends, and they're all out playing, and one of them says bye because they're going home, and that leaves the little girl alone in the forest, and they've got to go home, which is this way. So they've got to go through the forest to get to their house. Okay, then middle one, we might hear some noises. So it would be all about what we would hear. So there would be clanking. So they might hear the rollers on the bottom of the feet of the robot. Maybe that's what they can hear. Okay. And then they might see glimpses of it. So they might see flashing lights. So here's my bulb flashing. And then at the end of middle one, we've given all the hints that something is coming, so they would feel very afraid. So at this point there would be sort of real fear going on. Then the next part, middle two, they would meet the robot, and the robot is doing all kinds of terrible things. It's zapping things, and it's setting fire to things. It's got evil glowing eyes, its arms have got claws, it looks awful. The character would be very afraid, and there would be maybe the house is on fire and they've got to try and get past it and they can't. Then middle three, this might be the part of the story where the grown-up, and in my story it was mum, and she was standing on top of the house and the fence was burning. That's what was burning in my story. And she realises that the robot is just a baby. There's my baby. And so she says, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And the robot is not okay and calms down and listens to the voice and stops doing terrible things and needs a cuddle. And the little girl comes along and makes friends and looks after the robot. And in the process of repairing the damage in the ending, they realise this robot is brilliant at doing, let's say, woodwork. So this robot develops a job within the area. Maybe one of its arms becomes a saw, and they make furniture for people and they take it to school, they make new tables. Whatever it is, they become friends and everybody's happy. Okay, so that's the basic story. We've boxed it up. Then we can talk about which bit it is that we are going to write about today. And there will be a different mood for each different part. So doing a mood map can be really useful. So let's do a mood map for this story. Well, a mood map for this story we do with the children. I might model it on the board and then I say, right, now your turn, you do it for your story. And the mood map might look like this. So at the beginning of the story, they're content, they're playing in the woods. Everyone goes home and positive experiences go this way, negative experiences go this way. So as she's going through the woods, they hear a noise. So to begin with, it might be confused or interested or puzzled. And then they hear something that sounds scary. Now we get into worried. When she sees that robot, there's real fear. She's scared. and she has to get past, you know, these obstacles to get to her mother, and maybe there's fire, and maybe we might even get down to terrified. Then Mum steps in and starts to calm everything down by talking to the robot, and maybe at this point they start to relax a little bit. There's some relief, and then there's maybe some joy because the robot ends up fixing them and she's got a new friend, and when everything goes back to normal, we're back to content, and she's got a new friend and the school's got some new furniture and all is well. So this is a useful thing to do with the children, to track where we are. So at the beginning, it doesn't go straight from terrified and back up. We have to go into confused and then worried and then scared and then terrified. So we're going to build this fear. Building that fear and showing them how to do it in writing is one of the key things that we have to do. So each time we're going to try to work with them on this, we're going to do shared writing. Now, shared writing, as I've shown you in the previous videos, is all about you having a go first. So you go away and write a paragraph. Once you've written a paragraph that's like the beginning of the story, or maybe the part where they're confused by the sounds, then you have an idea of how to write it because you've had a go at it. You put some paper up on the flip chart, and then together you start writing. But you've got your one to the side, so you know what it should look like, and you're writing with the children. Okay, first of all, I write it on my own, and then I might show you that, I might not. And then there's we write together, and then there's you try on your own, and then independent writing. So there's lots of stages of writing. So this beginning, this introduction, we wrote as a piece of writing. I would have written it first, and then I would have written it in front of them, so with them with their ideas, and then they would have written it on their own. So this is what she wrote. It was near to Christmas and the snow was as white as a normal cloud. Alexa picked up Snowball and threw it at Tess, but Tess dodged the snowball. Then Claudia threw a snowball and hit Alexa's. Out, said Alexa. Oh no, I said, I'll be back by sunset. Oh no, I said, I would be back by sunset, said Alexa, disappearing into the snow. But Alexa lost Claudia. She looked all around, but then there was a button in the snow. It looked like a keyboard button. So we've got the idea that Alexa is in the woods, Claudia's disappeared, Tess has disappeared, and she's found a button off a keyboard. Then we're going to slow the story down because this is the part where we really want to focus in on confused and worried. We want to bring in the robot, but slowly.